What's up, everybody? You already know who it is. It's DripGodDero, and I'm back at you guys with another bang. So in today's video, we gotta talk about what's next for the Dallas Mavericks, man. The Dallas Mavericks, they had an incredible run. They made it to the finals, and hey, with that being said, that does bring a lot of questions for what's next for this Dallas Mavericks team. Now, before we do get into it, I do want to apologize about the drought when it came to the videos. I had a lot of personal stuff going on that I did have to handle, but we back like we never left. And this week and from further on, I will be posting a lot of more videos, so be on the lookout for a whole bunch of videos this week. I had a couple of them that were pre-recorded that I just couldn't release at the time, and like I said, we about to really flood the streets with the content. But without further ado, let's switch over and let's get right into it. All right, so to start off, let's talk about the Dallas Mavericks road to the finals. So the Dallas Mavericks, they ended up being the 5th seed in the Western Conference, so middle of the pack when it came to the playoffs run. And they really surprised a lot of people during their run. During their 2024 playoffs run, they started off playing the Los Angeles Clippers, and they beat them 4-2. They then ran into the Oklahoma City Thunder during the semifinals, and they beat them 4-2. They then went to the conference finals against the number 1 seeded or the number 2 seeded, I believe, Minnesota Timberwolves, and they ended up beating them 4-1. And that's when they actually made it to the NBA Finals. Now, their series in the NBA Finals, it was a pretty struggle of a series for them. They did only win one game against the Boston Celtics. And yeah, man, that's pretty much the recap of their road to the finals. And hey, man, let's talk about some of the players. And let's talk about some of the players I would like to see stick with this team. All right, so some of the notable players, man. Of course, we got Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. They are the two focal points on the team, the two stars of the team. You know, Luka Doncic, he had an amazing year this year. He averaged pretty much 34 points per game, 9 rebounds per game, and 10 assists per game. So overall, crazy year, amazing year. And he may win MVP this year. We never know. And let's keep in mind, he's only 24 years old. So definitely great year for him. Kyrie, he also played very great this year, man. He averaged 26 points per game. And when it came to assists and rebounds, he had 5 rebounds and 5 assists on great efficiency. As we know, Kyrie Irving, he one of the more efficient guards in the league, man. He was shooting 49% from the field this year and 41% from 3. So overall, just amazing year for him as well. Now, some of the younger pieces and, you know, some of the role players that we do need to shine some light on is, first and foremost, I would say P.J. Washington. Now, P.J. Washington, he was acquired midway through the season. And, hey, when he came there, he played fairly well. Now, of course, he does need to work on some things, but he does have potential. The reason I'm really highlighting him is just for his defense, because he was one of the main defenders, especially in the playoffs against some of the bigger wings, such as the Jason Tatums, the Jaylen Browns, you know. So he was definitely a decent defender. He just needs to continue to work on his offense. He did step it up a little bit more when it came to his efficiencies in the playoff. During the regular season, he was only shooting like, 31% from 3, but then actually in the playoffs, he upped that to 35%. So he showed that he can, really improve offensively, and I definitely want to see him on this team longer and see what he can really do once he gets more acclimated to the team. Now, some other good players that I really liked was Derek Lively. Derek Lively, the second, is only 19 years old, and man, he already has great instincts when it comes to being a big man, when it comes to blocking shots. And hey man, I like him a lot. I like him a lot. I want to see exactly how far he goes, when it comes to just developing on the offensive end and the defensive end as well. Like I said, he already has good defensive instincts, so it's definitely nice. I like what I've seen from Daniel Gafford as well, the second big man on his team. He also has pretty good defensive instincts. He can move his feet fairly well, and it was just the energy that he provided. I love the energy that he provided. Finally, let's talk about Josh Green. Josh Green, he played fairly well this year as well, especially when it came to the playoffs. He was shooting 39% from three in the playoffs, and that was one of the main things about him. You want him to be that quintessential 3-and-D player similar to PJ Washington, and overall I could say that in the playoffs he was kind of doing that, man. He was kind of doing that, but he's still pretty young as well. He only 23 years old, so you want to see what he can continue to build into. So those were some of the players that I did want to know. One other player I do want to know is Derrick Jones. Derrick Jones, he played fairly well. His athleticism, his defense, and he was kind of hitting his threes in the regular season. So shout out to him when it came to that. Also, in the playoffs, he actually upped his efficiency and his three-point percentage. So overall, they had a lot of solid role players that really showed that they deserve to play for this team. And now let's just switch over to the Dallas Mavericks salary so that we can see what is coming up for this team. So right here you see the Dallas Mavericks salary. Shout out to Hoops Hype, man. And as you guys can see, they are 9th in team payroll this year. So they definitely spending a lot of money, man. They definitely spending a lot of money. And y'all see the different options. Light blue is player option, red is team option, green is qualifying offer, and purple is two-way contract. So let's scroll down to some of these salaries so that we can see exactly what the Dallas Mavericks can do in this upcoming season. So let's take a look, man. Let's take a look. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. I'll just keep like that. But yeah, man. So of course we got Luka Doncic. He locked in for the next 3 seasons. Kyrie locked in for pretty much the next season, and then he has a player option. But I expect him to stay. They went to the finals, so I don't really expect the Dallas Mavericks to put him up for the trade, and I don't expect him to really leave in that 2025-2026 season. But we never know. If their season goes bad next year, he might be willing to, use that player option. But regardless, let's continue. Now, a player that we really need to talk about is Tim Hardaway Jr. Now, Tim Hardaway Jr., he didn't really get too much run during the playoffs, and he kind of had a down year. Now, as you guys can see, next year is the last year of his contract. So if you're Dallas, what do you do with Tim Hardaway? Do you let him play so that he can, try to up his value and then put him on a trading block? That's what I would do, because at this point it's like, do you really need him? I think PJ Washington is a little better than him. You got Josh Green, who's also developing. So it's like, that's what I would do. Me personally, I'm putting Tim Hardaway on the trade block, see what I could get for him, because although he did have a struggle season this year, he still has a lot of potential. He still can shoot the three very well. You got PJ Washington locked in for the next 2 years. That's a good thing right there. Daniel Gafford locked in for the next 2 years. That's also solid. I don't got a problem with neither of these two salaries or these contracts. Maxi Kleber locked in for the next 2 years. I mean, that's cool. I would kind of think about trading him, but hey, we just got to see what he could do in this upcoming season. Derek Lively locked in for the next 4 seasons. That's great. He may be the future of your big man position, so cool. Josh Green locked in for the next 3 years. That's cool as well. Solid 3-and-D player and has room to develop. He's still very young. Dwight Powell, you got to get him off the team too. I know he only making $4,000, but he didn't really impact this team at all. So I'm definitely putting him on the trade block to see what I can get. Markieff Morris, he won't be on the contract. He won't be on the team, so that's irrelevant. Dante Exum, I'm extending his offer, man. I'm gonna try to re-sign him because he was playing fairly well off the bench, man. So shout out to him. So I'm definitely going to try to re-sign Dante Exum. I'm definitely going to try to re-sign Derrick Jones. Derrick Jones, he played very well for this team. He only making $2 million. He'll probably be one like $5 million for the next 3 seasons. So probably like a $15 million deal, $5 million for the next 3. That's what I'll be looking at for him. That'll be fine. JaVale McGee, I'm probably looking to trade him, get him on a different team. He not really, he didn't really play too much. Jaden Hardy, that's one of the bigger questions right there. Jaden Hardy, do you move on from him? Because he will be on the last season of his contract. I don't know, man. I don't know. He is young, so that's something to note. But me personally, I would try to give him a little more run. I try to give him a little more run just to see what he could do. And if I don't really see too much out of him, then I might think about trading him. But hey, man, just to recap the 3 things that I would do for this team. The 3 things that I would do is, number 1, try to re-sign some of those key pieces that you traded for last year, be it the, Derrick Jones. Try to re-sign him. He played well. Try to re-sign or try to keep, the Gaffords, the PJ Washingtons. I know they locked in for 2 more years, but, don't trade them. They played fairly well. You just want them to continue building. Number 2, I would say, is that you gotta continue to let the young guys build. You gotta keep giving opportunities to Josh Green. You gotta keep giving opportunities to Derek Lively. The young players who will, in the future, really impact this team, because those 2 players, they really showed that they have a lot of potential in the playoffs and in the regular season in general. So definitely continue to give them opportunities. Don't just leave it up to the veterans. Continue to give those young players opportunities. That's number 2. Number 3 would be that I would trade Tim Hardaway. I would trade Dwight Powell and see what I could get from them. Those 2 players, they didn't really give you much this season, so why not try to trade them and see what you can get of value from them? That should be around the $20 million contract if you could trade them, and I'm sure you could get a decent player or a decent couple of players out of those 2 contracts. So those would be the 3 things that I would do if I'm the Dallas Mavericks. I don't think that they need to do too much because they did make it to the NBA Finals. So other than that, that's my thoughts. You already know what to do. Like the video, comment on the video, subscribe to the motherfucking channel, turn on notifications and all that good stuff, and I'm out. Peace.